Those scenes at the Emirates Stadium on Tuesday night after that final whistle went at the Vitality Stadium. Hundreds of thousands of people gathering at the Emirates, singing songs and celebrating. And the celebrating has continued throughout the week, and it will continue on Sunday, because Sunday, of course, Mikel Arteta a few weeks ago, whether he'd actually pictured his skipper Martin Odegaard lifting the Premier League trophy, he said many times and a long, long time ago. And now that picture in his mind will become a reality. And of course, then after Sunday, there will be the build-up to the Champions League final in Budapest. And who knows, this extraordinary season for Arsenal could turn into a historic season for Arsenal, because they've never won the Champions League. If they can do it, then that parade next Sunday, when hundreds of thousands of people will line the streets, will be even more special for those Arsenal fans. I think it's going to be special anyway. But look, this has been a triumph, hasn't it, for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal Football Club. If you go back, this is not an overnight success. This is a story that's 8 years in the making since the Conte takeover, and 6.5 years in the making as far as Mikel Arteta is concerned. That first season when he joined, yes, he did win the FA Cup, but then they finished 8th. His first full season, Arsenal finished 8th. His second full season, they finished 5th, significantly behind Tottenham Hotspur. And you know, if you was at another club, you just don't know, do you? Would the pressure have been on? And would Mikel Arteta have been in a job had he been at another club, but not at Arsenal? That's because very, very early in his tenure, Rob, he changed his role. The club changed his role from head coach to manager. It was a significant move, because he then became part of the leadership group at Arsenal. If you speak to anyone at the leadership group, especially the chief executive, Richard Garlick, the pressure has never been on Mikel Arteta, because if it was, the pressure is on the whole of the leadership group. And I just want to put it to Rob, actually, with all of that in mind, and with the stability that Arsenal have had since Mikel Arteta has been there, whether they are now, you know, getting the rewards from that stability, and whether Rob thinks that if he had been at another club, whether that same patience would have been afforded to Mikel Arteta.
Oh, Dharmesh, absolutely. I think the best thing that Arsenal did is stick with Mikel Arteta, and also I think the intelligence to understand that this is a guy with high intelligence, has the potential to give us everything, as in win us titles. The stability to stick with him, to keep with the potential, and also that Mikel Arteta also proved, because every year they consistently got better. Now, he said, I think he had a 5-year plan. He started in 8th, and then consistently every year they've improved in certain areas. They've recruited very well with bringing in players that they needed, but also because he's a highly intelligent guy who can contribute to Arsenal Football Club. They've seen the potential, he's delivered, and now they're champions.
I'll just get out of shot so you can see who is training out there. Be interesting to see, won't it, who Mikel Arteta picks on Sunday at Crystal Palace, with the Champions League final against Paris Saint-Germain in Budapest just 9 days away now. Look, the longer-term absentees are Mikel Merino and Jurrien Timber. They are not out there, but there are a few whispers around the training ground that Mikel Merino could be close. Hopefully we'll get some sort of confirmation from Mikel Arteta in his news conference later. Jurrien Timber, you'd have to say he remains a big doubt for Sunday, and of course the Champions League final as well. A few other absentees for differing reasons. William Saliba, Bukayo Saka and David Raya are not out there, but I'm told nothing to worry about. They're just doing their own individual training programs. And also Max Dowman is not out there on the training pitch just now. That is because it is GCSE exam season, so he's either doing exams or studying for them. That is what is preventing him from training just now. But look, the celebrations have been going on long and hard, haven't they, Tom, Rob, for the past few days? Why not? Getting over the line for the first time after 22 years. Next stop, Selhurst Park and that coronation. And a few weeks ago, I was mentioning it before, wasn't I, that I asked Mikel Arteta if he pictured Martin Odegaard lifting that title on Sunday. That will, of course, become a reality. When he joined back in December 2019, they finished 8th and they had a full season when they finished 8th. I've just been told now as well that Mikel Marino, I'm hopeful that my cameraman Simon McCarthy will be able to find Mikel Marino, because he has now entered the training pitch, which would indicate maybe that those whispers could be true, and that could be very, very positive news for Arsenal, that Mikel Marino could be close to a return after months out with injury. So hopefully we will be getting more of an update when Mikel Arteta addresses the media a little later on. Listen, there's so many questions, wasn't there, about Mikel Arteta and his future earlier on, but now it has all come to fruition. 6.5 years in the making, they are champions. An extraordinary season so far for Arsenal, Tom, Rob, and it could yet be an historic season for Arsenal come next Saturday night.
Yeah, and many will reflect, Darmesh, on when the title was won this season, but the answer might have come a little bit earlier.
Yeah, this is really interesting, isn't it? Because I'm sure Arsenal fans, even Mikel Arteta and all the journalists, will be trying to pose that question. What was the turning point? What was the game? What was the goal? What was the moment that made you believe that, yes, that 22-year wait was going to end? You can look back at the opening day of the season, couldn't you? Manchester United at Old Trafford, what a tough start to the season. And they didn't play that well, Arsenal, but they still managed to get the 3 points. Newcastle United, so often a bogey team for Arsenal, particularly at St James's Park in recent seasons. And yet, 1-0 down with just a few minutes left, and then Marino and that late goal by Gabriel giving them the 3 points there. And of course, that pivotal moment, the late drama at the London Stadium against West Ham United. But you mentioned earlier on that a seed could have been sown last season. And if you go back to when Arsenal knocked out of the Champions League by Paris Saint-Germain, who are their opponents in the Champions League final this season, of course, I'm told there was a realisation then that maybe the squad didn't have the required experience or depth to be able to cope with a full season that would have 4 competitions and enable Arsenal to go deep in those 4 competitions. Then cue last summer's transfer window, and Arsenal, you'd have to say they went more for the finished product players like Victor Gyökeres, Martin Zubimendi, Eberechi Eze, Christian Norgard, among others. Almost a win-now approach. And of course, it has really paid off, because they are now, of course, the champions, and maybe, just maybe, with a big chance of winning the Champions League as well. Look, we'll be hearing from Mikel Arteta when he faces the media for the first time since Arsenal won the title. That's at around 1:30 this afternoon. And then, of course, Crystal Palace against Arsenal, including the coronation, the trophy lift, when Martin Odegaard will lift that trophy. That's live on Sky Sports Premier League on Sunday. Coverage gets underway at 2. I've just been told now as well that even though Mikel Marino is out there on that training pitch, he could feature for maybe the last 2 games now. Of course, I did mention before, we will get more of an idea when Mikel Arteta addresses the media. Doesn't often give too much away when it comes to team news, but you never know. He might have caught him in a good mood. He is, of course.
Arsenal are fully charged up after already securing the Premier League title, and they are now shifting full focus to their Champions League final showdown against PSG. Mikel Arteta has intensified preparations as confidence and momentum soar within the squad, with players training at maximum intensity and belief running high across the camp. The Gunners are determined to complete a historic double, turning their domestic success into European dominance. Fans are buzzing as Arsenal head into the final with confidence, energy, and a winning mentality against the star-studded PSG side.